All right, today we're diving into something that at first glance looks like a simple story for kids. It's called La Fête de la Forêt, but it's actually a fantastic masterclass in project management. How to lead a team back from a total disaster. And the lessons in here? They're for everyone, whether you're sorting a company, launching a new app, or yeah, even just throwing a big festival. Okay, so let's jump right in. Every great project needs a starting gun, a call to action. And here, it's Benny Bear's big, enthusiastic roar. It's time! Now, this isn't just some random shout. It's the official project kickoff. It's that spark, that one moment that gets the whole team energized and signals, okay, here we go. Now, before we get to the big problem, you gotta understand the backstory. The Great Forest Festival wasn't just any party. It was a huge tradition with all these little routines everyone loved, like sending out invitations on acorns. The whole community looked forward to it every single year. But that familiarity, well, that's exactly what makes it so much harder to recover when things go wrong. And that leads us straight to the heart of the problem. Because the success of this year's festival has nothing to do with berry juice signs. It's all about how the team decides to face the shadow of what happened last year. So this is where we meet Rabbit. And you can think of Rabbit as the team's collective memory. She pulls out the logbook, kind of like the project's official records, and her ears just droop. It's such a perfect picture of that sinking feeling, right? That feeling we all get when we have to look back at a huge failure. They aren't starting fresh here. They're starting with this heavy, heavy memory of everything that went sideways. Okay, now this is where it gets really good. The honesty on this slide is incredible. Just look at the left side. They are not sugarcoating a thing. Melted decorations, food gone bad, a stage that literally collapsed. But here's the brilliant part. The right side isn't just some vague promise like, we'll do better. Nope. It is a direct, strategic answer to every single failure. This is like a textbook postmortem analysis. They're turning their biggest mistakes into a roadmap for success. So admitting you messed up is step one. But step two, the real game changer, is turning that knowledge into a plan that's basically unbreakable. Let's see how they move from just talking about it to actually doing something about it. And here it is, the leadership moment. After everyone's been down in the dumps about the past, Benny Bear steps up and completely changes the conversation. He doesn't say, let's just hope it doesn't rain. He says, we'll build a festival that even the rain can't stop. See what he did there? He reframed the whole mission. The goal isn't just to have a party anymore. The goal is to build a resilient party. And this is how a big, inspiring speech becomes a real strategy. That bold declaration gets broken down into 3 super clear, doable steps: a weatherproof stage, covered food stalls, and emergency plans. It's simple, it's focused, and now everybody knows exactly what they need to do. It's a direct attack on all of last year's problems. Of course, a great plan is just a piece of paper if you don't execute it well. This is where Owl comes in. Owl is the project manager, the strategist. He looks at the plan and immediately knows the next move isn't to just start building, it's to get organized. When he says, I'll organize teams, he's making sure all the right animals are on the right tasks. So we have the vision, we have the strategy, but to make this thing real, you need someone who actually knows how to build stuff. You need an expert. So let's see what happens when the architect shows up. Yeah. Any complex project, it needs an architect, not just a builder, but that person who can take a big idea like weatherproof and turn it into a technical design that's actually going to work. In this story, that's Toby the beaver. He's the subject matter expert, the one with the chops to make the whole vision a reality. And would you just look at the kind of detail an expert brings to the table? Toby's blueprints aren't just a few rough sketches. They are packed with specific, brilliant ideas. Arched roofs for strength, walkways to stay out of the mud, and using a giant mushroom to cover the stage, that's just genius. He's even sourcing wild materials like spider silk and lily pads. This is where a high-level plan becomes a real, tangible, innovative solution. Now, this is a charming little moment, but it's actually incredibly important. When Trout says the plans are fish-approved, it's more than just a cute line. It's validation. It's a reminder to test your ideas, get feedback, and sometimes get a thumbs up from stakeholders you weren't even expecting. It just builds that confidence you need before you go all in.
So the plan is solid, the expert is on fire. It seems like the project's on the fast track to success, right? Well, not so fast. This is where the story hits us with its most powerful lesson, one that goes way beyond any blueprint.
So here's the final curveball. The project is facing a huge risk, but it's not the weather and it's not a flaw in the design. It's expert burnout. Toby, their brilliant architect, is running on empty. He hasn't slept. And that is a massive vulnerability. I mean, what happens to your whole project if your star player crashes? And then we get this absolute gem of wisdom from Mother Deer. She represents that compassionate side of leadership. She sees the burnout risk and she steps in. Even rivers need to pause between bends. That really lands, doesn't it? It's his beautiful point that being resilient isn't just about weatherproof stages. True resilience is about the health and well-being of your team. And this right here, this is the ultimate proof that the project is a success. While Toby, the key expert, is resting and recovering, the work doesn't stop. Why? Because the teams were well organized. The squirrels, the spiders, they all know their jobs. And they keep right on working. It shows that a truly resilient project doesn't hinge on one single person. It's carried by the strength of the whole community and a culture where people look out for each other. And that really brings us to the final thought here. The story of this little forest festival is a powerful template for any kind of comeback. It teaches us to be honest about our failures, to build a vision that's resilient, to bring in the right expertise, and maybe most importantly, to take care of our team. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What's your festival? What's that big, important project you're working on? And who's on your team, helping you build it so it can withstand any storm?